Okay. And a very good Tuesday morning, afternoon, evening, everyone. Joe Benigno back with you again. It's the O to Pain podcast. It's a Tuesday. It's July 15th, and it's 2025. The podcast, of course, is brought to you by the Hackensack Brewing Company, by Anita Discount Tires, and, of course, Manscaped. Um, All-Star Game Day. Yesterday was the home run derby. I could care less. Cal Raleigh won it of the Mariners. At least a guy that hits a lot of home runs. What's he got, like 37 home runs? Something like that. Whatever. But let's start with this first. The Jets signed Garrett Wilson to a 4-year, $130 million, $90 million guaranteed contract. So you got to be happy about that if you're a Jet fan. There was some concerns last year that he wasn't happy. He wasn't, happy with Aaron Rodgers. And, once Devontae Adams got there and, he became kind of the second receiver to Adams and all of that, he still had a huge year. Caught over 100 passes, had over 1,000 yards in receiving, had 7 touchdowns, still had a very good year, in spite of maybe him not being happy. And I guess there was concern that he wanted to leave the Jets and all that. And then with the new regime coming in and his old buddy coming in at quarterback in Justin Fields from Ohio State, he signs the deal. So that's a good move. Good job by the Jets. They actually get it done before the last year of his rookie contract, so you got to be happy about that too. And now I guess the next move is signing Sauce Gardner. I'm not as thrilled with Sauce Gardner as I am with Garrett Wilson, but let's see what happens with Gardner now with the old defensive back Aaron Glenn as his head coach. So very good job by the Jets. Garrett Wilson, again, 4 years, $130 million, $90 million guaranteed, and he's going to be a Jet at least through the 2030 season. So got to be happy about that if you're a Jet fan, and we'll see where we go from there as training camps open sometime, I guess, the end of the month. I'm not sure exactly when, but at some point in time. But good news with Garrett Wilson signing long-term now with the Jets. As far as the All-Star game tonight, I really could care less about the All-Star game. But MLB did a smart move with this game tonight. And that's with this, I guess they're going to have this AI, robotic type umpiring tonight, right? I mean, I guess we're going to see, a non-umpire behind the plate strike zone. Now, I don't know how that's going to work, but at the very least, it'll make you want to tune in and see what's going on with it. So I give them credit because nobody really cares about the All-Star game anymore. Let's be honest. I think the home run derby has become a bigger deal than the All-Star game, and it's too bad because there was a time when the All-Star game was appointment television. I mean, when I was growing up as a kid, you never missed the All-Star game. Never, but now, with the saturation of baseball on television, with the fact that you have interleague play now, because back in those days, the National League didn't play the American League, only in the World Series. So it was actually something, and it meant something to beat the other league. When I was growing up, the National League won all the time. I don't know how many consecutive times they won, but they won all the time until that streak finally ended in 1971 in maybe the all-time most classic All-Star games of all in Detroit. And, of course, the highlight of that game was Reggie Jackson, at that point, of course, with the Oakland A's, hitting that home run off the light tower on the top of the stadium in Old Tiger Stadium in Detroit. There were so many things about that All-Star game. You had all these Hall of Famers hit home runs. Reggie Jackson, I want to get them right, Hank Aaron, Roberto Clemente hit one in that game. Harmon Killebrew hit one. I think Frank Robinson hit one as well. I mean, you talk about an All-Star game loaded with Hall of Famers. That was it. And that was also, allegedly, the All-Star game with Doc Ellis, the pitcher for the Pirates, actually was pitching on LSD. At least that's what he said. So my wife's laughing. I don't know if that's really true or not, but that's the legend. But that was it. I mean, and the American League finally won, and that was really a big deal back in 1971, and I'll never forget it. And to me, that's, as far as I'm concerned, that's the most famous All-Star game of all. There were other moments. 1964 at Shea Stadium. Remember, Shea Stadium had just come into existence at that point, and that was the game where Johnny Callison, the great right fielder of the Philadelphia Phillies, hit the game-winning home run in the 10th inning, 3-run home run to win it for the National League off the at that time the great relief pitcher for the Red Sox, the monster Dick Raddatz, if you remember him. They called him the Monster. He was this big dude. He was one of the original closers in Major League Baseball. And Callison hit that bomb of a home run to win it at Shea Stadium. That was 1964. And the other big moment I remember from the All-Star game was 1970, and that, of course, was in Cincinnati, and where Pete Rose ran over Ray Fosse,
I thought something happened.
No, nothing happened. Pete Rose ran over Ray Fosse, and, that's the memorable moment of that All-Star game. And he almost, he hurt. I don't know how long Fosse was out. It's a funny story. I was telling my wife this earlier. Back in the old days when I was doing the overnight on the Fan and going to all kinds, I was going to, every Met game, every Yankee game. I was going all the time. I used to go to the Garden constantly for Nick and Ranger games. I was at the old Brendan Byrne, went to a lot of Net games, back when I was doing the overnight. And it really was a different world. But I was at Yankee Stadium for a Yankee-Oakland A game. And I'm in the press room this is the old Yankee Stadium now, and I'm in the press room, eating, having dinner. And Ray Fosse, who was at that point, was a commentator, was doing the broadcast for Oakland. I believe he's passed on now. And I went up to him and said hello, introduced myself, who I was. And I mentioned the situation with Pete Rose. I thought he was going to punch me. That's how ticked off he. He basically said to me, "Don't ever mention the name Pete Rose in front of me." So, I'll never forget that moment. But, Ray Fosse, the great catcher, played for the Indians, played for Oakland, was on those championship teams with the A's in the 70s and all of that. But, So now that's back when, again, that was appointment television, watching the All-Star game. Now it just doesn't matter. You get so much baseball on television. You got the interleague play, so you're seeing everybody play against your team no matter what it is. It's just not the same anymore. And I guess that's why MLB is finally, doing, putting the gimmick in, of, the electronic umpires. So that's a reason to tune into the game tonight. If nothing else, right? Because that's the only reason. If nothing else, than to check out the game tonight because of that. As far as the local flavor is concerned, you do have the Mets have 4 guys going. Obviously, Francisco Lindor is going to be the starting shortstop. Pete Alonso's on the All-Star team. Edwin Diaz on the All-Star team. David Peterson for the Mets on the All-Star team. For the Yankees, of course, Aaron Judge will be starting for the Yankees. Jazz Chisholm, who was in the home run derby last night, didn't do very well. He's on the All-Star team. And you also got Max Fried, who I do not believe is pitching in this game. And I guess Roldan, too, right? Is it Roldan on the All-Star? Did he make it? I believe he did. So that's the All-Star contingency for the Yankees tonight in the All-Star game as we hit the halfway point in the season. So, again, a reason to tune in tonight. The game is on Fox. I guess it starts at 8:30. And it's in Atlanta. Remember, they hosed Atlanta a few years ago, and I don't want to get into all the political nonsense with that. And they gave it back to them now tonight. So the All-Star game in Atlanta, and you get a chance to see the electronic umpire. And that should be pretty interesting. And I'm all for it. I'm all for electronic umpires. I'm tired of these umpires. Everybody's got a different strike zone. They call something a strike once, and they don't call it a strike later on. I mean, we could go on and on. But we could check out the All-Star game tonight for that reason. And really, that's really, to me, the only reason to put it on, even for, an inning, if that's all you're going to watch. But nevertheless, so that's tonight in Atlanta. Now, it is the halfway point in the baseball season. Not really the halfway point because we're beyond it. How many games left? What are the Mets? 55 and 42. So they played 97 games. So they got 65 games to play. So we're actually, beyond the halfway point in the season. But, the All-Star game, the unofficial halfway point. And right now, look, if you're a fan of either of the two teams in New York, right now the Mets are a half game out of first place in the National League East behind the Phillies, 1 game in the loss column at 55 and 42. And after all, that terrible run they had where they lost 13 out of 16 and really played terrible baseball, things aren't that bad. Even though they had that tough loss on Sunday to Kansas City, walk-off loss in the bottom of the ninth inning, you still got to feel pretty good if you're a Met fan, especially the fact that you got Mania back now, you got Senga back now. It looks like they're getting healthy. Vientos is starting to hit, although I'm still not sold that he's completely off the schneid yet. We'll probably see Francisco Alvarez back after the All-Star break from the minor leagues, where he's been tearing it up. He's hitting like 8 home runs since they set him down to, I guess he's at AAA, since they set him down there. So, we'll see. The state of the Mets, you got to feel, you can't feel that bad about it. Soto started to hit, and like I said, the pitching staff getting healthy. Still, the bullpen is still a mess, and I don't know what they're going to do with that. There's so many guys injured. Vranick now may need Tommy John surgery. Nunez is getting it for the second time. Buto is hurt, although I think he might see him back. So the state of the bullpen could be better. But after what happened, after that bad streak when they lost 7 in a row, and like I said, lost 13 out of 16, to me the Mets have righted the ship. 3-3 on this latest road trip. They lost 2 out of 3 in Baltimore, won 2 out of 3 in Kansas City. I'll take it. They come home to play Cincinnati on Friday night. David Wright, of course, will get his number retired on Saturday. SNY, by the way, is doing that documentary. I think it's Thursday night at 6:30 on SNY about David Wright. So that's coming up. So you can check that out. But, the state of the Mets, I'll take it. And the same thing with the Yankees. I mean, as rough a period as they've had, they're still 10 games over 500, 2 games behind Toronto in the American League East. Both teams still in first place as far as the wild card is in their respective leagues. So even though both teams have had tough stretches, the Yankees ended the season losing 2 out of the first half, losing 2 out of 3 to the Cubs at home. Still, they're both in pretty good shape going forward into the second half of the season. And I think both teams are making the playoffs. I mean, really do. I think when all is said and done, you're going to see both the Mets and the Yankees in the playoffs this year. So you can't get crazy. I tell everybody all the time when it comes to baseball, you cannot have the football mentality when it comes to baseball. You just can't have it. It's all about, it's all about 162 games. You're going to have ups. You're going to have downs. You can afford a 7-game losing streak in baseball and still survive it. You have a 7-game losing streak in the NFL, you're done. That's you're pretty much you're finished. So it's a whole different mentality when you're talking about a 162-game baseball season and a 17-game, NFL season. So but we'll see. At least it'll be interesting tonight with the electronic umpire. That'll definitely be an interesting thing. All right, let's get our sponsors in here. Again, it looks like we're making headway on when we're going to have the next live podcast at the Hackensack Brewing Company. I guess Jones is back from Croatia. My daughter's been in touch with him, so we'll let you know. Probably, maybe even the next couple weeks. No later than early August, we will let you know when the next live podcast will be at the Hackensack Brewing Company. So that's coming up. You'll know as soon as we know. As far as if you need work done on your car, you need tires, you need your car inspected, you got to see my son Johnny at the Need a Discount Tire in Rivervale, New Jersey, Westwood Avenue. Go check it out. Tell them I sent you. They do a great job there. Johnny, Ari, everybody. Rob, one of the best mechanics there is at the Anita Discount Tire, Westwood Avenue, Rivervale, New Jersey. And finally, I guess next month we'll have our guys back from Manscaped. And, of course, I keep telling you about the 5.0 lawnmower. Make sure that you take care of business with that. And as I always tell you, the illusion of extra inches, and God knows there's nothing wrong with that. All right? So check out the Manscaped and all the different products they have, the shampoo and conditioner, all of it, right? They got the underwear, everything. So you want to check out Manscaped, and you can tell them Benigno sent you as well. Now, one thing this week, and I am looking forward to this, and that is golf when I get up in the morning, because this week is the British Open at the Royal Portrush in Ireland, North Berwick, I think it is. In Ireland, should be interesting. We had the Scottish Open last week, saw Rory McIlroy actually play well, finished second to this guy Gutterup, right? I think his name is Chris Gutterup. He won the Scottish Open. He's a Jersey guy. Actually went to Rutgers and winds up winning. That's a great tournament. It really is. Had all the big names in the PGA playing in it. And, of course, this week in the, as they call it now, the Open Championship, the final of the 4 majors, all the guys, the live guys will be playing in it. So I'll be looking forward to that. And the final major, and the fact that you get up in the morning and there it is, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the morning, you're watching golf on television, and that's what you're going to have. I'm looking forward to doing my Saturday show where I'll be able to watch, for 4 hours of watching the Open Championship. And I'm sure we'll have somebody on, either Ann Ligori, Mark Cannizzaro. I'm sure they're out there. So we'll be checking that out. That's always something to look forward to in really a slow time for sports, with baseball not coming back to Friday. Like I said, the Mets open a 3-game series against the Reds at home. And again, David Wright, a number retirement ceremony on Saturday afternoon. And then the Yankees will be in Atlanta to play the Braves for 3 games over the weekend as they return to the second half of the season. So that's the story as far as that. Outside of that, really not much going on. Playing golf. We played yesterday at Blue Hill. I got to tell you, my wife, and I don't know if it's just the eye now that she can actually see, but she has really started to play much better. I mean, she is playing the best golf we've seen her play. Hitting the ball farther off the tee. Yesterday at Blue Hill, where, it's not easy if you're a woman to hit the fairway. It's not exactly a woman-friendly golf course. She hit 7 out of 14 fairways yesterday, really starting to bomb the ball. Even a couple times where at Blue Hill, her tee box, because I play from the old man tees, I play the forward tees. I'm going to be 72 years old. I'm not exactly hitting 300-yard drives, even though off the tee I'm very good. But, it was a couple times where, and I was hitting good drives too, right in the fairway, and I was only out driving her by maybe, 10 yards or so. So she's really started to hit the ball well. She's got that beautiful swing, and very, very happy to see my wife bombing the ball like she is. And we'll be playing tomorrow at Rivervale. Tomorrow's our anniversary, by the way. 30. Look at her. She's all jacked up. You got it good when you're married to a woman and you say to your wife, you say, so, darling, what do you want to do on our anniversary? And she says, I want to play golf. Come on. I mean, who's doing? How many guys have that? Your wife may say to you, what do you want to do on our anniversary? Oh, I want to go pick roses. You know what I mean? Or something like that.
I want to go out to dinner.
Right, I want to go out to dinner.
I want all the jewelry in the world.
Right, I want to go out to dinner at the most expensive restaurant you could possibly find. You know what I mean? No. Or, I want a new wardrobe for my anniversary. No, that's not how my wife flies. So thank God for that. 31 years married to this wonderful woman. She's still smoking hot.
Oh, God.
She is, even at her age. Thank God for that. She had no work done on her face either, which I have to say. How many of these women that are, over 60, over how old they are, even over 60, how many of these actresses that are like 30 years old that have had work done? I mean, it's unbelievable. You ever see a picture, and this girl is one of the most, and my daughter, I got to give my daughter Erin credit for this. This girl is one of the hottest girls there is, Kylie Jenner, right? I mean, she is freaking smoking hot. Let's be honest about it. No doubt about it. Who's she going out with? She's going out with some big something.
Oh, that guy.
And who's she going out with? Right? We saw her with. That's right. She goes out with the guy that played Bob Dylan.
Right.
What's his name? I forget his name. He was at all the. He's a big Nick fan. He was at all the Nick games and all of that. Whatever his name, Shamit. Right. That's his last name. I forget his first name. But he's the guy that played Bob Dylan in the movie. Right. Yeah, that's right. That's her boyfriend, Kylie Jenner. So she is like this smoking freaking hot girl. Right. So I remember I'm talking to my daughter Erin about her, and how smoking hot she is and all that. She goes, no. You gotta see what she looked like before she had all this work. And she shows me a picture. It doesn't even look like the same person. I mean, she was like just an average looking girl, And then she got all this freaking work done. And she probably got a boob job too. Got all this work done. And now, I mean, oh my God.
Doesn't look the same.
She don't look the same, and she's, hotter than hell. So I applaud the fact that my wife has not had one stitch of work done on her face, and still at her age, still looks freaking phenomenal. I'm very fortunate with that.
Well,
I got to tell you right now, very lucky guy. 31 years of marriage tomorrow. It's hard to believe it's been that long. It really is. But here we are. Yeah, stunningly stunning. And again, what do you want to do, darling? I want to play golf. Oh. It's like, it's like heaven on.
Not rain.
No, it's supposed to be okay now tomorrow. It's supposed to be okay. Heaven on earth. And we got it in yesterday. We played 18 yesterday, which I didn't think we were going to. We played at Blue Hill. We teed off at 9 o'clock. And we were home and getting ready to have dinner by the time the big storms hit yesterday. So, thank God for that.
Yeah.
But, it's supposed to be nice today. I think today's a pool day. I got to continue to work on my tan before it starts to fade. As I got that savage tan. We got to add to the savage. How do you say that? I got a new word. Savagery.
Savagery.
Yeah, savage.
Savagery.
Doesn't savagery sound better? No? It is savagery, but savagery. Savagery. My wife's right, savagery. One of those like the Coppertone tan, I put the number 15. First, I put the number 30 on to kind of base it out, Coppertone. Then I go with number 15 to try to, accentuate all the negatives. My wife accentuates the positives. I accentuate the negatives. This is what we're talking about on the Slow Sports Time, right? I mean, what else is there talking about? It really is. I wonder how some of these guys, even survive this week that there's no baseball.
Oh, God.
I mean, how do you survive?
They watch old games.
Is that what they do? I don't even know if they're doing that. They're not hanging out by the beach, which they should be. Something like that. But anyway. But like I said, the fact that we got the electronic umpire should at least add some interest to a game that I could, it's like watching paint dry anymore as far as the All-Star game is concerned. So there you go. But it is our anniversary tomorrow, 31 years. God bless America. God bless my wife. She's the best. Very fortunate. It's funny because I was a little concerned that once she, got this cataract surgery, that she was going to actually be able to see what I really look like. Okay.
Oh,
and let me tell you, it's tough. You ever see the stupid commercial where they got this guy? I can't stand this guy. And he says, he goes, most men over 40, I forget what he says, don't really care. I mean, are you kidding me? Then they show this guy, and this guy's like 70, over 40. It's not like the guy's 42. The guy's like 60-something years old, and they show you his face, and then they show you him after he uses whatever this crappy product is. Okay, I don't know what it is. I guess I'll never get an endorsement. It's something I would never use, And they show this guy that, come on, he can't be the same guy. You know what I mean?
Huh.
Give me a break. So anyway, I'm very happy that even though now that my wife can actually see, she's still okay looking at me. Because I'm telling you, man, I'm not so okay looking at me.
Oh, my God.
It's rough. It's rough. It's rough getting old. In the great word, one of the great lines of all time from the great Mick Jagger, right? From Mother's Little Helper, going back to about 1965. What a drag it is getting old. Indeed. And that's it. It is a drag. But we're still hanging in there, still playing golf, still walking, still in relatively good shape, although I have issues that we don't have to get into. But nevertheless, it is what it is. But happy anniversary to my wonderful wife, 31 years with her. I don't think we'll make another 31, but nevertheless, we'll see how far we get. And we'll be playing golf tomorrow at the beautiful Rivervale golf course, where I got a nice rain check, and I'm all pumped about that. So we should have, it should be great. Playing with Artie tomorrow. By the way, Artie in Brooklyn is playing with us tomorrow. We haven't gotten a fourth guy yet, but Artie in Brooklyn will be playing. He's a good player, Artie, too.
Yep.
So I got to give him credit. He's a good player, no doubt about it. Good guy, too. A little nutty, but a good guy. So everybody have an outstanding rest of your day, rest of your week. We'll be back for the Friday podcast. And as always, God bless America and all the love, everybody. We'll talk to you on Friday.